So has anybody got a question for the University of Bath on this mini project idea? Who's? Yeah, go on. Wait for the microphone.
How many students in total? How many students in total are you delivering this project with each year?
Variable between about 80 and 100.
Okay. Sounds quite intensive.
Staff-wise, it's moderately intensive. We ask a lot of demonstrators. This is actually, PhD students really like this.
Mm-hmm. Good for them.
Because they get this chance. Well, it's exciting, right? Like cool, different projects, and then they get to work with it.
How many do you use? How many demonstrators do you use?
Depends on the class size. So
but one might have more than one group to look after.
So typically each demonstrator will have 2 groups to look after.
Okay.
So it's sort of like a bench side at a
All
time,
right.
depending on.
Thank you very much. Anyone got a question for Cardiff Met? I was very interested to hear about the interrelationship between the academic staff and technical staff in providing this training. Very interesting. Anyone got a question for them? Yes, over there. Thank you.
I don't know where they've vanished in the room somewhere. I was really interested in your lab book assessment and how you managed to structure that. Whenever I've experienced lab book assessments in the past, the students often disappear off into the ether and then try and write the most beautiful thing in the world and present it back like it happened on the day. So I was interested in how you assess that.
Oh, sorry, was that still for me? I thought.
Oh, it was actually for both of you because you had it in both of your talks.
Well, perhaps Cardiff Met could answer then. If you could answer, thank you.
Okay, is that on? Yeah. So the first thing to say is that it's it's double marked with some of the marking criteria being basically coming from observation in the lab with regard to competence, engagement, and so on. And obviously somebody like Rich, because it's double marked, the technician can provide some really relevant information to that. Second thing to say is lab book's a bit of an anachronism. It's now submitted as an electronic Mahara portfolio, but I'm old enough that I still call it a lab book. So there is a record, there should be anyway, a record of weekly tutorial meetings with the supervisor and, of course, the equivalent of entries into a lab book as a diary of all the lab activities they've taken part in. Also reflections of our departmental research seminars and students going to those and reflecting on what established researchers have done in their field. And then finally, there's an element of assessing being individual in terms of coming up with contributions to the project design and experimental designs, how well each individual student has related group-wise with their tutor, with the technician, and maybe with other people in the lab at the same time who are doing similar projects. So I think from the top of my head, those kind of cover the aspects that are assessed in that element. But as I say, the key thing is it's not just my opinion as the academic supervisor. It factors in somebody like Rich, who's been there by the side of the student at the bench throughout the period when they've been in the lab working on their project.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move on. Now, any questions about life on Mars for Imperial College? Very interesting connection going on there. Yes, over here.
I just wondered whether it was open to Masters by Research. Masters by Research as well as PhD. So.
Okay, so there are some challenges with that. So with the Royal Society of Chemistry, the way they accredit master's courses is by looking at things like professional skills. The Royal Society of Biology also look at the courses that they're doing. So it's very much dependent on the courses as far as if I've got that right. Please correct me if I've got that wrong. But so at the moment, the master's program has only been accredited for those interested in the Royal Society of Biology and Institute of Physics with chartership. So it's the PhD students. We would love it to be open to master's students, but it's something that we haven't achieved as yet, but we look to actually expand the scheme for hopefully, eventually, all of the students and different professional bodies that we can actually bring on board. But in the master's students, they would do it in terms of improving for the Royal Society of Chemistry, they do their masters, they get full membership, and they can apply for registered scientist, so they can start their journey.
Okay.
And that's the idea, and that was something that is something that would be nice to do for the biology and physics as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.